Hello everyone, Coffee Mug here. So welcome back. Last episode I was finishing up my metallurgic science build and I built out an extra one and got part of it hooked up. Although I don't have stone disposal hooked up and I still have to bring in lava, but I'm not going to hook this up for a while. I was just getting everything set up. But this is pretty much done. I turned it off for now because I don't have any rockets ready. So now it's time to fix the rest of my base here. This base is kind of a mess in many ways, so I'm gonna get rid of most of it. Like, I don't need this metallurgic science anymore, so I can kind of remove a lot of this stuff and then focus on basically getting rocket parts built. And then once I get rocket parts built, start some upcycling just because I will need a few more legendary foundries. I have about 40, 50 now that are left over. So I don't think I'll need too many more, but I do want to start producing more legendary foundries. And a lot of these legendary big miners I would like to get. So I really want to get some way to get legendary tungsten and whatnot to make these. So rocket parts and getting legendary stuff here. And then I do have to continue making my turbo belts and undergrounds and splitters and stuff, so I have to be doing that too. So that's my goal with this. Right now it's just kind of a huge mess. So I'm gonna do kind of like I did on Fulgora. I'm not really gonna record it because I'm just gonna tear everything down and start from scratch and basically just build a new kind of rocket piece mall or whatever. I don't know, it's not even technically a mall at this point, but rocket part builds for my rocket launches, and then get up belt, like a nicer belt cycling process here, and then start producing legendary stuff to make these legendaries. I really only need big miners and foundries here that I need legendary. So that's what I'm gonna do. I will probably stop recording and I will come back when it's all done and give you a tour when it's wrapped up. All right, so we are roughly midway through, and so you can see here I kind of cleaned up everything that was part of my main base. I extended my rail up here around the top, and then I added some drop-offs for my different training stations. I did finally add my legendary, the purple stuff, the tungsten, because I did have my little upcycling here to legendary, which goes pretty slow. I could probably look to optimize this or add another one somewhere, which I might do eventually. But for now, I'm just slowly getting that stuff in. And I set up a few smelting arrays here. It's actually really surprising how little, when you have legendary foundries with legendary stuff, right? These two right here make a complete belt, which is like 2 beacons and legendary foundries. So it's actually really quite impressive, actually. So I have these here setting up a couple of basic belts here. So I have like a little mini bus that I had my legendary tungsten make my way down here. So I'm making legendary tungsten carbide and legendary tungsten plates now. A pretty good clip here. I got the legendary carbide is from my spaceship. So I had this legendary ship that just flies back and forth and upcycles these little asteroids, so I was getting my legendary carbon from here, and it just drops it off at Vulcanus. I don't really need a ton of it, so I'm not really gonna go crazy here, but I do want to get these smelting set up for these two maybe, and start making some legendary iron and copper here too. It's something that I plan to do. So all right, I'm gonna take another break with the recording, and then once I finish getting my production set up, I will check back in. Here's kind of a list of everything that I need to make. Mostly a lot of belts and stuff, plus my foundries and miners. And then I also got to get coal liquefaction set up, so that's going to be a big thing. And then all my rocket parts. So I'll check back in with you here in a few moments for you. All right, so I just finished up building my production area here. Here's a good overview from the map. As I checked in kind of the midway point, I had gotten this drop-off set up and rerouted some of the trains. And in the meantime, I also added a few more of these tungsten miner setups. So was able to squeeze 2 in here. Some extra backup trains. Other than that, nothing really changed. And now if we come look at my production area, so we got everything kind of dropped off the train here, the calcite, tungsten, and coal. Over here I have some production area for copper and copper wire. I probably didn't need to put copper wire on and belt it all the way down, which that was kind of a mistake, but I may go back and change that later. But I got copper wire, copper, steel, and iron here. I have one of the calcite kind of branches over to feed everything. So the stone that comes off the back is a little elaborate, but I did it in a way that which will allow me to collect all the stone that comes off and use what I would need to use to have everything running. All right, so here, I have a single belt of stone that comes off. Either some of the stone will get collected in some providers, the rest will get smelted again into some providers. And then to collect the stone itself, I have everywhere where there's an offshoot, it either gets added to the main belt, and if it turns out to be excess, that gets put over here and dumped into the lava, effectively, depending on what's at. So this is my setup here for just smelting and production and stone production. Over here, this is my giant coal liquefaction thing that I built. So I basically just have 2 plants opposite of each other with a couple beacons each, except for this first one. I have 2 beacons each just going up and down the line here. I start this off with a simple coal liquefaction, which will input stuff like right off the belt here. Then the sulfuric acid I have, which was pumped in. I never put that on a train because this is pumped in from the start of my factory. That just makes its way down here. Some of that gets converted to steam with my steam neutralization. Then the 2 steam neutralizations here, and then my simple coal liquefaction here. So that uses some sulfuric acid. This heavy oil gets pumped over here into this tank. This pump shuts off when there's less than 500 heavy oil in this tank. So basically this doesn't run unless there's like no heavy oil at all. And the reason why I did that is that the advanced oil liquefaction requires a start amount of heavy oil. And so that way I always have a backup if something were to ever happen. This would kick on and get this factory running again. But then I have basically just a series of coal liquefaction plants. The steam that I was generating is the other input here, and then the coal comes in from the side. I did have to use these legendary red inserters to make sure they were feeding fast enough. And if I think that I'm not entirely happy with this build, mostly because I would prefer not to use red handle inserters, but then I'd have to kind of play around with the pipes and have those like the pipes right here. I'd probably, in order to prevent that, I'd probably have to have like these over here with the undergrounds, like coming in like that. If I wanted to get rid of this pipe like that. And that, I don't know, I did realize that too late, and then I didn't really feel like going back and changing, and it's just gonna have to live this way this time. So that's how this build turned out. A lot of the extra steam I have over here that gets converted back into water, and this is where my water for the entire base will be generated. I take all the excess steam that gets converted back into water. I have to burn up the light oil I have here making solid fuel. That feeds the rockets, which also use the light oil. So this generates rockets, and this is all the rockets I'll need for my rocket launch. I have two series here, 2 little blocks that make rocket fuel. And then as a backup, I have rocket fuel made from just regular oil, so that way if my oil gets too high relative to the amount of light oil, this can kick on and generate the solid fuel instead. It's kind of a way to burn off excess regular petroleum, and I have that set as a priority to use that petroleum solid fuel first. So that's kind of a lot here just to make rocket fuel, but that way I'm kind of burning through all this coal liquefaction stuff. Over here, this is just for excess light oil that gets cracked to the petroleum. This doesn't turn on until this tank is basically full of light oil, so this kind of burns any excess light oil I have. Over here, this burns any excess heavy oil. This gets converted back into light oil. I don't know why I chose to put this at the end. I think I just wanted to use up all of my light oil first. I probably should have, in hindsight, I probably should have moved this back a little closer, but it doesn't particularly matter too much. Then I have my plastic over here. Each of these plastics makes about 60 per second, so this is enough to fill 2 belts. And so I have one belt kind of come off the side here, and then that kind of gets combined and split up here. So, and then just to kind of keep everything in the central area here, I have this belt that comes and wraps around this way, because if we go back, starting from over here now, this is where my legendary stuff comes in. I am getting a good collection of legendary tungsten and the little carbide things. You know, I have about 5,000 of each now, and that's just slowly waiting for this train over here, which upcycles the raw tungsten into legendary tungsten. I don't really need a ton of this, so it doesn't really matter that it's takes a little longer, but it's definitely going to be fast enough to produce what I need. So this will just be for random production things that I want to make legendary. Okay, so over here I'm producing lubricant. I just got a series of lubricant machines with some storage. To feed that, the heavy oil comes in here from the tank side. Again, it kind of prioritized lubricant production over the oil that makes its way out this way. So the oil that's not pumped into the tank actually just comes all the way down here, and then that's where the burn heavy oil is. So I really didn't need to put heavy oil burning all the way down there. But that was, in hindsight, bad design. I think I could really probably clean this up if I cared to make it any better. But I don't, so I'm just going to leave it this way. Anyway, that's my heavy oil production. Over here, I'm just making this carbon. So unlike the legendary carbon, which I get shipped in from space, this just is being produced with the coal and sulfuric acid. So that makes the carbon, which I use over here from my tungsten carbide with the carbon, the tungsten ore, and sulfuric acid, which the sulfuric acid is also used for the carbon. So I have that makes its way down here. And I store a little extra in this tank. All right, so let me show you kind of what's going on with my science. I had all this set up, although I haven't put it in action yet. I have been researching things that predominantly use electromagnetic science. So if we kind of pull up my science production. So I've been consuming about 1,800 science per minute. And then I have legendary biolabs, which basically like the legendary biolabs quadruple your output. So that's why it's 7.2. So I'm producing 1.8 per second and it's consuming 1.8 per second. And that has been going on. See here, I have the 10-hour graph. So that has been going on. I've been here on Vulcanus for almost 20 hours now. So this has been consistently going for actually a little over 20 hours, which has been quite impressive. So that's, I'm really impressed with how well my Fulgora base had lasted. And I really got some of this Fulgora only stuff. You know, this is at productivity 20 now. So it's really kind of gotten up there. But I'm going to shift over to, there's only one thing I can do now that I have this metallurgic science ready. And that's this low density structure production. The rest all require yellow and or space science, which I do not have set up yet. And that's going to be my next thing, I believe. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is the only one now that I can add that's kind of new. So I'm just going to queue up a bunch of these. and then just kind of test this new setup here. So I'm going to be start to ship off this metallurgic science soon, so this will get fired back up, and hopefully when I'm done giving a tour of my base, we can kind of see everything running. Over here, I have my tungsten plate. I have 2 rows of that, so the tungsten comes in, makes its way down. I have the molten iron I have over here, so I have my molten iron production. I have significantly more than I actually need, but I do have this molten iron pipe and then the molten copper pipe, which I kind of bust in. This is not my best pipe work. This is probably some of the worst pipe work I've ever done. But I don't know, I'm tired of this planet and I'm ready to not think about having this pipe work be perfect. So anyway, I got the molten iron come in to combine with the tungsten and make these plates. So I got a bunch of plates coming out. That effectively I just replaced this tungsten ore belt with the carbide, and I had the legendary here and then the regular here. Then it's replaced now with the carbide plus the plate tungsten. So I got that now on my belt. Over here, I'm making my low density structures because that uses iron and copper. So both of those kind of make their way in down here from earlier. Get all that, and then the plastic comes from my plastic production. So that makes low density structures. Makes way more than I need for the launch rockets. Same thing with the rocket fuel. And then to make my circuits, I have these beacons make these things go so fast. Like each of these makes 120 per second, and you just need you need so many. Like this requires 165 copper per second. Like you gotta have so many things feeding it. It's kind of ridiculous. But and so I actually needed to make more copper wire, so I added another copper wire production down here with the molten copper. So one I had in the back, I should have just made like 2 of these right here, and like actually I probably should have just like put this like right here or something. Like I don't know why I shipped it all in through the belt. It's kind of a waste of a belt. I may actually go back and fix that. It's really kind of silly, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't. So anyway, that makes I also use copper wire here for red signs too, but so I make the green science here. A lot of that gets shipped over to feed the red science and then ultimately the blue science. Each of these factories uses, if you look at the consumption rate, like I only have 4 beacons per electromagnetic plant. This uses 630 per minute. So this right here, these 2 just use up a full half belt of greens. So this is really cheese through these green circuits, but it makes a lot of blue circuits, so that's good. That blue circuit's coming down here, again goes to feed stuff. As this wraps around, I have all of my turbo production, beacon turbo production. We're beaconed for the gears. This makes these things so fast. I absolutely not need beacons for the actual belts and inserters and whatnot, or not belts, inserters, belts and the splitters and the undergrounds. Do not need that at all. And then here, just all the belts turn around. Just put stuff into some providers. So I pretty much have anything I may need to craft anything else. And then I have all my rockets here. They are being fed with these requester chests in the middle. And I have a single beacon per forge to make it go fast enough. These will launch, I think, every 27 seconds. So they provide, they can provide roughly 200 science per second shipped up. So this is enough. This will actually be enough for my base in its entirety, hopefully, once it's all said and done for the amount I plan on making. So that's actually a ton of rockets. So I have, how many did I make? 32, and each of these can do about 2,000 per second. So this can launch about 64,000 science per second, which is, my goal is 28, like 0.8 or whatever. So that's way more than enough. So that's pretty much most of my production. Over here, I'm just using the remainder of this molten iron to make gears, sticks, iron sticks, pipes, and underground pipes. And then I have, I showed you the stone earlier, which is making stone brick. The stone brick is used over here to make concrete in this foundry, which also uses some of the metal. So that makes all of the concrete I need, and that concrete comes over here, and that's converted into Well, refined concrete, because I'm using refined concrete for foundries, and not miners, but it's used for the foundries, and this foundry is using up all this extra concrete. Eventually, I'll be able to use this concrete, and I'll add some flooring here, but that's a longer term project, which I may do with bots while I'm out and about. And then over here, I have just production of both engines and electronic engine units, because I need those electronic engine units for this big binding drill. The red circuits and carbide I had on the belt, coming off over my belt plate. And then I also have miners being made right here, the regular miners. And so these feed my now upcycling. I added more of the regular big binding drills, so this has slowly been churning, and now I have about 40. I started with, I have 20 on my character, I believe. Where's that at? Big miners is here, so I have 20 on my person, and now plus the 40 here, and then I've also replaced all of my mining with legendary. So I've already made close to around 100 or so, and I've been making sure everything's been replaced. Mostly the thing, these ones I have to replace though. The reason why I want it is for the resource drain. So all the tungsten is like the one I'm mostly concerned with. The resource drain of the tungsten. So I got all those legendary now. But I'm getting a good amount because there's 20 in here. Some of them have been shipped up, ready to go overseas. Then with the foundries, again, I have 20 on my person. I'm getting close to around 100 extra foundries now. I really don't think I need too many legendary foundries for what I'm trying to accomplish with my base. So I probably only need like 200 more. So I'm actually almost done what I need for these, but I'm just going to keep churning them out anyway, because most of the resources here are free, except for the tungsten. But then my mining production is it's at 208. So this between the legendary miners plus my 208 mining production, this is gonna like take forever to be used up. So it's like 100 million or whatever when you kind of do the math. So they'll never really run out, most likely. So that's pretty much all of my production. Other than here, I added the different train parts because you can kind of see I'm going to be using trains quite a bit. So this makes all the train parts. And then in combination with all the stuff I'm getting shipped in from my supply ships, I pretty much have enough to build anything or the rest of what I'm going to need on this planet. So really, I'm almost completely done with this build for this planet. I basically just have to take something like this and add it somewhere else, and then that'll give me my science goal that I set out for this base. So I might put this over here or something. I'm not sure where I'm going to put it. Maybe right here, I think, actually. That might be a good spot. So that is my currently running base. So let's yeah, this is heavy overkill for what I'm capable of producing with science. So this right here, again, this makes 72,000 or half of a belt, and I'm only consuming 1,800 right now. So this right here is only like one of these will run full time anyway. So this is gonna use so little at the current moment. But so far, so good. We are, let's look at our science again. 10 minutes. So yeah, we're so far, so good. We are being able to research everything we need to be researched here. Production staying consistent. And not producing anything yet because I don't really need to. Because it's going to take a while for all of the, I believe my Vulcanus science ship, I pick up 20,000, then I drop off 20,000. So that'll last 10 minutes. It's going to be 10 minutes before the ship even runs out and comes back. And all right, so I just realized that because I'm still shipping up so few relative to the amount I'm able to produce, I decided I would rearrange a little bit where the drop-off points are, and I added a few more. So this will make my science run for a good 10, 15, 20 minutes, and then I just want to check to make sure everything is working well. So I basically just copied the, I had 4 drop-off points here. I increased it to 8, and I moved it a little closer to the rockets, and I made more drop-off points here. All right, here we go. It's firing back up. I love it. So this will run for a little while. This would be a nice test just to make sure everything's working, all the stone gets disposed of. Let's kind of watch this go up in smoke. I love that it adds a little smoke flare. Looks like we are unloading uranium, or the tungsten in time. It's unloading pretty evenly, so that's nice. Yeah, enough mining so the trains are always present. Another one's probably gonna get shipped in soon. Oh, here it comes. Cool. Perfect. All right, so I got enough uranium mining. Coal should be good. Calcite should be good. Sulfuric acid should be good. I have more than enough carbide and tungsten plates. So, I'm getting backed up on the belt, so I'm producing enough. And it looks like I'm good on the molten copper. It doesn't seem to be too short. It's staying about 78 out of 100 in my pipe. All right, I think I'm gonna try to take out this area here. There's a big coal patch there, and I'm worried this coal is gonna run out. So I want to clear this worm out. Hopefully, it's a medium one or smaller. Oh, it is a medium. Nice. Okay, I think I'm done here on Vulcanus. I have plenty of mining that I know this will last quite a long time, especially since my mining productivity is still going to increase. I've been consistently researching for about an hour now, and my science has ran so well that I'm basically stopped up, and everything was running well. I won't be able to fully test this until I 4x all my science on my other planets, but so far so good. It's working well. I got all the resources I need. I'm making tons of these legendary foundries, tons of legendary miners. So I have plenty to ship off world. That'll help with my resource drain even more. And plus my foundries. Having legendary foundries is always going to be really helpful. Would like to get those back to Fulgora soon, and so I can replace those Holonium ones. But this is my current Vulcanus base. It's pretty much what it's going to look like in its final form at the end of this particular mega base. Again, I mentioned this earlier, all I really have to add is like another stack like this, plus miners where appropriate. And so then I'll be completely done here. So I'm pretty much at the end of what I want to do on Vulcanus. So with that being said, I'm going to take off. And I got to decide what I want to do next. I'm going to probably focus on yellow science, and then space science, and then Gleba. And then I do have to build my Promethean ship. I got so many things I got to do. That's what makes this game a lot of fun, I think. So Thank you for watching, and I will catch you in the next episode.